Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our next installment in this career opportunity series. We're excited you could be here with us tonight to join us on this wonderful, wonderful workshop that we've put together for you. And I'm sure that you're going to walk away enriched and enlightened. Before I welcome our presenter for this evening, I would just like to give a word. This series is part of the JCC Workforce Program, which is here in the community year-round to help with job placement, with career counseling, with resume assistance, interview prep, anything that has to do with furthering your career and landing a job. We're here to help you. We have a eminently qualified staff that could help you with each of these things. And please feel free to reach out to us anytime at our email, workforce@jccgci.org. Again, workforce@jccgci.org, and we'll be there to assist you. So that being said, we're in a tough time right now. This COVID-19 really has, Hashem has sent it to make the new world order. And many of you are, at a certain point where you're reevaluating your career choices. For those of you that have been in a job and you've been laid off, now is a good time for you to think maybe it's time to change careers. For those of you that haven't gotten in, things have slowed down and now it's time to take a deep breath and to really explore. So there are tools out there to help you with this exploration. The word aptitude test is a very familiar word and it's out there. Everybody has heard of this, these special tests that you could take to help you figure out your personality. Tonight, we're really going to be discussing testing as it applies to coming to a career choice. We have with us our very qualified Ben-Sion Siegel, who's our career counselor on staff here at JCC GCI Workforce. And he's going to share with us what these assessments are about and how to go about doing them. And he'll show you where you could find these assessments online for free. You could take them yourself, or you could actually, if you'd like, together with the assistance of Ben-Sion, you could be in touch with us by email, and he could walk you through it, and he could help you with taking these assessments and with coming to a clarity in what direction you'd like to take for your career and for your future. And so, without further ado, Ben-Sion, let me welcome you, please. If you can you show your screen?
I'm hitting start video, right?
Yes, hit start video.
Not letting me get it.
There you go. Okay, there you are. Okay. Hello and welcome. Thank you for taking precious time tonight. So I know you're jumping in and you have that beautiful presentation that you prepared. So, please, the opening question is, for those that are watching this, why take an assessment? What's it all about? What's the value of it? And, take it away. And just as a reminder for all of you watching, our format, 20 minutes of presentation followed by a Q&A session. So for those of you that would like to post questions to Ben-Sion, please email me, workforce@jccgci.org. I will post a question to Ben-Sion at the end of the presentation. So sit tight, relax, and enjoy the show. Ben-Sion, the floor is yours.
Good evening. So we're talking tonight about career explorations and about exploring careers. And I think at some level, we all want to find the right job fit. We all want to find the right job. We want to feel like we're in the right position for ourselves. Whether it's a calling for us or just to like the job. We just all want to feel like we're getting to the right type of position. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to get some career direction, how to find some direction. We're going to focus on career assessments. Career assessments are not a silver bullet, but they can be helpful and give you hints to, get into the right direction, giving you some ideas at least. So let's see if this will move. Having trouble moving the PowerPoint. Hold on one second. Having trouble with the PowerPoint. Hold on. Apologies.
Just do it from the from the.
Yeah,
Just do it like that.
I'll keep flipping it like this. I apologize. So again, whether you're starting out or whether you're changing directions, or like Rabbi Wordy said, in case you're having an issue with the virus, you want to reevaluate what you want to do. It's really important to start out with self-assessing yourself, and that's really what you want to do. So your first step is really to self-assess. What is it you want to do? We want to look at 3 categories to help you understand how to self-assess yourself. Number 1 is your interests, and interests are really important. I would say it's the foundation for understanding what you want to do. It's really the place to start. There are times in our life where we don't get to do, what we want to do in terms of interests, and that's okay too in terms of paying the rent. But in an ideal world, we want to look to something that we're interested in. So we're going to talk about that. The second one is personality. And personality definitely impacts our direction and the type of jobs that we're looking for. There are certain types of companies that draw in people based on personality. So we'll talk a little bit about personality. And third one is skills, strengths, and values. And it's important to do an inventory of the kind of skills and strengths and values you have. So let me try this one more time before I move on. Let's see if it works. If not, okay. I'm not sure. We will do it from the side again. Apologies. So again, those are kind of the 3 approaches to looking for direction for you for a position. So again, first one is interests. And generally, all the interest assessments out there, most of them, underlying them is the John Holland theory. And it's a theory that's been around. He created it in the 1960s. It's also called the Holland Codes. Most of the interest inventory type of assessments kind of have this underlying theory. And the idea, without getting into the nitty-gritty of it, is that you're going to take an assessment, and we'll show it to you. And it's going to ask you questions, and on the questions, it's going to ask you things like, do you prefer to fix a refrigerator versus being in front of a computer? All kinds of interest questions. And based on the answers, it will put you into one of these 6 categories. It'll give you a ranking of the 6 categories of kind of your top 3. So after answering all the questions, it gives you those kinds of results. What are these 6 categories? So first one is realistic. And these are jobs that are all about using your hands. They're very physical. It could be a mechanic, a builder, electrician, could be a computer repair person, could be even a professional athlete, jobs that are more kind of hands-on. Second category is investigative. And investigative, these are kinds of jobs where people like to look at problems, analyze them, come up with solutions. And this could be anything from a doctor to a chemist to a computer programmer. They tend to be connected to science and technology. The third category is artistic. These are people that have a resonance, that resonate to art or something creative. And this could be anything related to that: architects, actors. It could be culinary arts, like a chef. It could be graphic artists. Fourth category is social. These are the helping professions. Anything where you're helping people, and where people feel like they're trying to improve other people's lives. It could be a teacher, social worker, it could be a rabbi, it could be an HR person. The fifth category is enterprising. Enterprising is kind of your classic business category. And this is for people that enjoy motivating people, influencing people, leading people. It could be any type of job in a company where you're managing people, managing projects. It could be something in sales. It could even be something in politics, actually. Sixth category is conventional. These are people that enjoy organizing data, manipulating data, working with data. This is kind of your person who likes to be in front of a spreadsheet, and working with data. And that could be an accountant or a bookkeeper, data processor, could be something IT related. So again, you would take questions, answer those questions, and that will then kind of rank you into one of these 6 categories that'll give you your top 3 most popular things that you have interest in. And then it even goes further. The process will even identify particular positions. So for example, an HR person, that job is a combination of being social, enterprising, and what we'll call an SEA. But without getting into that, being granular, again, the idea though is to, get kind of a ranking for which of these categories you're most interested in. So this is kind of a pictorial view of it. Again, realistic are kind of those people using their hands, doers, investigative, you might call her the thinkers, artistic are the creators, social are the helpers, enterprising is kind of business, and conventional, we said, is kind of the organizers. So that's really the idea. So we recommend 2 websites. Now, unfortunately, you're not gonna be able to see this so well now that I can't put up the full picture for some reason. But let me just point them out to you, and you certainly can, we will, send out to anybody the links. But the first one we recommend is ONET Online, and this is actually a really great website. It was created by the US Department of Labor in the 1990s. And there's a lot of great information on it. And I know it's hard for you to see, but actually, if you go to the front of the website, you'll see a purple box there, a purple square. That is where you'll click on. It'll take you to a 60-question assessment of your interests. And based on the way you answer it, it will then tell you which of those 6 categories is kind of your first, second, third ranking categories. And it even divides it up more so. They call them zones, and they'll tell you even, in some areas in zone 1, if you have less education, less experience, you can do these types of jobs within this category. Or if zone 2, a little bit more experience, a little bit more education, you could do these types of jobs. So it's really a great website, and it's a nice assessment. It's free, and it really breaks down your interests for you in these 6 categories, and further gives you descriptions of jobs and a lot about those jobs. The other one here is Career Zone, and again, it's hard to see, but this is in New York State. You would go to the 3rd tab here, and this doesn't go into 60 questions about your interests. It just asks you straight out about the 6 categories, and based on that, it will then connect you into particular jobs that might interest you. It's also a very good website. But we would recommend for interest to go to ONET Online first and then to Career Zone. So that's interest, and it's really a good place to start for you to get direction. The next area we said is personality, and personality is it's definitely a place that impacts our choices in terms of careers and jobs we want to do. There's a lot of good personality assessments out there. Popular ones these days are DISC, and a lot of other ones I've used over the years. We're gonna recommend, we're gonna go back to a classic because it's just a good place to start. That's Myers-Briggs. Most people have taken the Myers-Briggs, but it's a really good place to start in terms of thinking of your personality and careers that might match it. So for those of you, most people have taken Myers-Briggs, but for those of you that aren't familiar with it, just a little bit of background on Myers-Briggs. It was created in the 1930s by a mother-daughter team. It's based on Jungian psychology. Lots of people take it each year. Corporate America, people continuously take it. HR departments are still giving it to this day, even though many people have taken it. It divides the world into 16 personality types. And since it's been around a long time, it is pretty well, there's some debate usually about it, but it's been around a long time, so it's been pretty well researched for reliability and validity. And what it does is it's really looking at your innate preferences, and it's going to give you a personality profile based on your preferences. What do I mean by preferences? So for example, I can use both my right hand and my left hand, but I tend to use my right hand more. I'm more comfortable with it. I'm a righty. So too in our personality. We're a little bit more comfortable in our personality going for certain, parts of our personality, even though we could use more than one. So the dimensions, the 4 dimensions that the Myers-Briggs measures is number 1, extroversion versus introversion. And this is all about energy. Extroverts get energized by people. When they're around people, they're very energized. Introverts are energized more by their world of thinking, by some private time thinking. When an introvert is around people too long, they get drained. And it doesn't mean that an introvert is not good with people or likes people. They could be just as good as an extrovert, but it's just about energy. Second dimension that it measures is sensing versus intuition. And this is, how do we take in information from the external world? So people who are sensors, they really use their 5 senses. They see what's in front of them. They're very much in the here and the now. They're very much into the detail. Intuitives are looking more in the bigger picture. They're really considering, they're looking in between the lines. They're thinking bigger picture. This is actually a place where people have communication issues when somebody is a strong sensor versus somebody who's a strong intuitive. Third one is thinking versus feeling. And this is the dimension of how do you make decisions. Thinkers make decisions more based on logic, more based on evidence. Feeling people make it more based on their value system. How does it affect other people? They're going to make other considerations in how they make their final decision, not just things like logic. A thinking person could be a typical CFO, for example. Fourth one is judging versus perceiving, and this is how do you live your life? So judging people like to live life in a very organized way, very structured way. They like to, have their appointments. They like to finish their task before going on to another task. Perceivers like to play things by ear. They don't like to be tied down too much by scheduling and things like that. You can actually see the difference between a judger and a perceiver, even looking at their workspace, and not whether it's messy or not, but really about their organization. Judgers might be very organized, their books might be in a certain way, and perceivers not so, or not as much. So when you take the Myers-Briggs, it gives you on the spectrum between extroversion, introversion, sense versus intuition, thinking and feeling, judging and perceiving, we all fall into that spectrum somewhere. It'll give you 4 letters like below here. That's, as an example, this person will say was an ISTJ. And so because Myers-Briggs has been around a long time, they know that people who are ISTJs, that popular careers for people in that personality type, for example, is a business analyst or a CPA, somebody in banking, a lot of other types of jobs, but these are examples. So it can be very helpful in taking the Myers-Briggs or other personality profiles, personality assessments, to see what's popular among the profile that you have fallen into, and again, giving you just more clues as to direction for yourself in terms of jobs and professions and occupations. And one last note about personality and Myers-Briggs is, it's important to understand that, you really can be successful at anything. And that's the issue, though, is if you do something that goes against your personality, so you might get yourself a little bit more drained or depleted by it, but you could be successful, you could be happy in it. So it shouldn't deny you from going into a particular profession. For example, salespeople, probably more extroverted salespeople out there, but there are introverted salespeople. Some might even argue they make better salespeople in certain types of situations. And they could both be equally successful, but it could be at the end of the day, if an introvert spending a lot of time on the phone or with people, they're a little bit more drained. But nevertheless, personality is a good place to try to get some clues and hints as to where you might be interested in terms of careers. So we recommend 2 online free Myers-Briggs personality assessments. One is called humanmetrics.com. That's on the right. Again, kind of small, I apologize. And that is also 60 questions, and based on it, it'll give you a Myers-Briggs profile, and it'll also tell you careers that match it. There's another one called 16 Personalities, and it's a little bit different, but also still based on Myers-Briggs, also very good and for free. So we recommend, in terms of personality, taking these to get some clues in the personality section. Last section we mentioned is interests. And interests is a really important. Is your skills. Skills is a very important place, also especially for your resume and for interviewing. You want to do an inventory of all the skills that you've accumulated over the years, and those are things you've learned. We'll call things that come naturally more natural strengths. But for example, for myself, one of my first jobs was with one of the big accounting firms, was Deloitte, and I was just a very, only an adequate writer, just okay. And in the job itself, they made me write a lot of memos, and they would come and put red markers on it and kind of teach me how to write better. So by the end of that time, I became a better writer and became a good skill. There are people who are really great writers naturally. It's a natural skill for them. So strengths can really kind of direct you in a certain direction in terms of what might be a good fit for you for job or occupation. So you want to think about both skills and what really comes naturally for you in terms of a strength. So there's a few career instruments that we found online that are pretty good that include, in addition to interest and personality, that also include a little bit about skills and strengths. And that's one is by Psychology Today, and this one's a little bit longer, but I found the results very interesting. So if you have some time, it's worth taking. It takes about 45 minutes. It's about 250 questions, but it's pretty thorough and asks all kinds of questions, and it gives, it won't give you all the results. For all the results you have to pay, but it'll give you for free some good results for what really comes out for perhaps your #1 match of a career based on the questions that they ask. And again, they're going to get a little bit more to your skills and strengths. And then this is another one, what career is right for me. This one's actually very short. It's about 10 minutes. The results are a little more modest, but also very interesting, which does include some questions on skills and strengths. So we'd recommend you take these two if you want to find out a little bit more, if you have some time, to get kind of that third leg of, self-assessing yourself. So that's really the idea here. Again, interests you really want to start with. It's your foundation, and we have two good websites for that. Personality, Myers-Briggs, you could try that. There's also some other ones. Because Myers-Briggs has been around a lot, there tends to be more free ones online also. And then the skill section is a good place for you just internally really think about all the skills and strengths that you've acquired over time, and these two assessments. So once you've kind of gone through some of these instruments, again, they're just giving clues. But if you could start to narrow down your options, your last step at that point, if you can narrow down a particular industry or job or occupation, for example, somebody after kind of looking at some of this, talking it over a little bit, doing some research, wants to be, say, a property manager or something. So then just online, you definitely can find the research, and you do more research on the field itself. There's so much you can find. I mean, you can find what the typical day is for most professions. What is the typical day of what a property manager does? What are the tasks that they do on a daily basis? And that's really important also for you to understand if this is really something for you, if it's something you see yourself doing on a daily basis. Of course, you want to understand what working environment is, values and culture. Is it a more cooperative type culture that this profession works in, or is it more competitive? Things like that. What kind of education requirements does it require? And do you have the time? Is it worth it? Perhaps it is. How much would it cost? What does it pay? What kind of work schedule it is? It's the benefits, etc. So that's really kind of a quick overview of some of the career instruments. We'll call them career assessments to help you further along your thinking and getting to the right job fit. So I guess I could take some questions.
Okay. First of all, thank you for that beautiful presentation. very meticulously researched and presented. Vincian really spent time. A lot of these assessments exist where you pay for them. You know, you could Google this, and there's professionals that administer these tests, and they're, they could be quite expensive. Vincian did extensive research to find quality assessments that are free. Now, these are free tools. They're obviously a little lighter. They're not quite as deep as you would get if you actually, did one of those paid ones. But these are excellent free tools that really give you a very nice 360-degree, picture of yourself to help you sort of decide what career path you want to go on. I just wanted to add one comment to what Vincian said before about, you could look up and see what the day in the life of a person in a particular industry is. One of the best things you could do is, if you're interested in an industry, is actually, and you could actually reach out to me for this, especially here in Crown Heights. If we could put you in touch with somebody who's a professional in that industry to talk to them, and you could interview them and take down notes and actually hear from a live person in that industry what it's like. And that could really give you an eye-opening discovery to help you along the path. So there's no question. Right. It's an excellent. If you're juggling between a few things, hey, maybe I want it this way or that way. Reach out to someone who's in the industry. If you're having a hard time, reach out to me, and I'll find you somebody or connect you to somebody in the network who could assist you. So for those of you that are watching live right now, you could send in your questions at workforce@jccgci.org. You could send in your questions, workforce@jccgci.org. And in our final 5 minutes that we have over here, we will try to get to you. 1 second, let me just check if anything came in right now. Okay, so here's a question that just came in for you, Vincian. The question is, I'm somebody who really just came out of the yeshiva system. I've been studying in the yeshiva all my life, and now I'm at this point, and I just have absolutely no clue. I just, to put it in the words of this person, he's just completely clueless to where to even start. So what do you have to say to something like that?
So I think for sure, certainly he could talk to us, that's, for sure, but I would definitely try the interest inventory and the Myers-Briggs. Those will start to give you some ideas for things to do. And in terms of education, based on, looking at certain professions that look really interesting to you, then you can make some decisions if it's worthwhile for you to further some education if that type of job needs it. But I think the first place to do is to, take some of these assessments.
Okay, and I would just also add that to this individual, if you're listening, there's nobody that doesn't have skills and interests. Everybody has them. If you look back at your years, you're probably in the early 20s right now. Look back. What were the roles you like to play? What were the skills that you exhibited? What are your interests? Those are very strong clues that could help you. So when you're saying you're clueless, you're really not so clueless. If you look at yourself a little, that'll give you like a little bit of a direction. And then with these tests that you take, that will start giving you more of a direction. These tests definitely, they're guideposts. They're not magical things that, if the answers they give you are not like, you must do this, but they're very helpful. They're very helpful. And again, for all of you watching, if you want assistance with taking these tests, or you want even the list of them, send us an email, workforce@jccgci. We'll send you the list of these tests, the websites that you could go to. And if you want, Vincian to help you administer them and to help you interpret them, that's why he's here. And of course, he could help you with a resume, and then we could connect you to our job developer to help you with the job. Okay, let me just see. There's an email that just came in. 1 second. Okay, how do you like that? What do you think about scientific aptitude testing, such as John and O'Connor testing in NYC? Have you heard of that one?
So, I'm up on some of the aptitude testing, and I want to actually differentiate between what we're talking here and traditional aptitude testing. Traditional aptitude testing usually is by profession. So, for example, there's an aptitude test to be a computer programmer. It's a battery of tests. There is an aptitude test to be a fighter jet pilot. If you want to try to work for Apple will give you an aptitude test where they will do a lot of English and math and critical thinking skills and puzzles. So that's kind of your traditional aptitude testing. I mean, what we're talking about, I'm calling this more career assessment, except for the last two assessments, the one from Psychology Today and the other one, those actually get closer to true aptitude testing. So there really is like kind of overlapping, but what the question's asking about, I think, is like, and from what I can't speak too much about it, I could research it more. I mean, I know of it, is true aptitude testing.
Okay, and we'll just take a final question that came in right now. So this is the other extreme. This is somebody who, unfortunately, you know, they were just laid off. You know, they were in their industry for close to 20 years, and you know, they're sort of like just absorbing the fact that they've been laid off, and like they're at this point where like, gosh, do I look for something else in the same place, or maybe I should start all over again? Like, what's your advice for how they should clarify their thinking at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to do both. I mean, you certainly could reevaluate a little bit into some new fields, think about some other things you might want to do while simultaneously also looking to what you've been doing. Unless you see that, you know, there's not much work in that area. It kind of depends a little bit on the specifics. Kind of have to find out, you know, what, you know, specifically was the type of position and the industry the person was in. But I think there's a lot of people in a situation now that may want to reevaluate a little bit, do a little bit of thinking, some inventorying of their skills, do some of these assessments, and consider some new things. And there might be some all new areas that will be opening up based on this situation.
Okay, nice. So again, for those of you watching, if you want assistance with these, or you want a link to all the different websites that Bensio discussed, please send us an email, workforce@jccgci.org. If you're looking for a job, you want help writing a resume, you have an interview and you want a little prep to get ready to ace the interview, all of those things, we're here for you. And we're continuing the series. After Shabbos this coming Sunday evening, we're going to be visiting the world of court reporting. It's a very interesting niche industry, but it's actually a very attainable one, and you know, a very respectable industry to be in. And we'll hear all about that this coming Sunday. So everyone have a wonderful Shabbos and weekend. So nice to see you again. Stay tuned. All the best.